My boyfriend brought home a stray cat. He claimed work had gotten too crazy and asked me to look after it. But the second he left, I heard the cat mutter under its breath, "Who are you calling a stray? You cheap, cheating scumbag." Then it turned its head toward me, voice dripping with pure frustration. "I'm a purebred Maine Coon. I cost $80,000. Honey, I was supposed to be a romantic gift from your boyfriend to your best friend. But those two figured out I'm way too high maintenance, and instead of feeding me like decent people, they dumped me on you. And you're just standing there smiling?" Skeptical, I snapped a photo of the scruffy-looking cat and searched it online. To my genuine shock, it really was an incredibly rare, expensive breed. Watching my jaw drop, the cat kept right on with its sassy monologue. "See? Told you. Clueless. You're even about to hand off that prestigious clinical fellowship to your so-called bestie. Think giving it up will save your long-distance relationship? Let me enlighten you, he already got his transfer approved. He's moving to that branch office soon. They've already picked out a loft to move into together. And yours truly overheard that once she's back from the fellowship, her career is going to take off. That vacant chief of medicine slot is basically being kept warm for her." I opened my laptop right then, wrote my own application overnight, and sent it in barely a second before the deadline. In our group chat, Maya had sent a voice note dripping with saccharine baby talk. "Chloe, what am I going to do when I move to Chicago? I'm going to miss you so much." Ethan followed up immediately, texting like it was the most natural thing in the world. "We should chip in and help Maya rent a nice apartment. It's not safe for a girl to live alone in a new city." I didn't reply. They just kept chatting without me. "Ethan, you're not Chloe's husband yet. Don't you dare touch my bestie's money, even for me." "Oh, stop pretending who was crying on FaceTime last time because some creep followed her after a night shift. Let's get you somewhere safe so that doesn't happen again." And who used chasing off a creep as an excuse to drink half my bottle of Cabernet, pass out on my couch, and make me drag him home? I quietly closed the app. Maya had been my college roommate for 4 years. She'd come from a poor background, and I'd constantly helped her out financially. Her favorite line was always, "What would I do without you?" Ethan had been my childhood sweetheart for over a decade. The only reason those two even knew each other was because of me. My phone buzzed with a notification my car allocation had gone through. I'd had my eye on that dream car for over 6 months, and I could finally buy it. As I was mapping out the payment, the cat's voice drifted through my head, lazy and casual. "Why waste money on something that depreciates? Buy real estate instead, way better." I froze. "Property in this city? I barely have enough for a down payment." The cat rolled its eyes, tail swishing imperiously. "Who said anything about downtown luxury condos? I've got connections in the feline world. A fat orange cat over at the city planning commissioner's house told me that stretch of land near the old pig farm is about to get scooped up for a huge entertainment park expansion. 800,000 turns into 10 million. Get it now, dummy?" I stared at the congratulations. "Your application is approved" notification for 5 seconds, then calmly canceled my car reservation. Ethan's call came through moments later. "Why'd you cancel the car reservation?" Turned out I'd used his number for the reservation updates since he knew more about cars. Then his tone shifted seamlessly. "Actually, since Maya's moving to a new city, commuting's going to be rough for her. Why don't we use that money to get her a car instead?" Wow, they'd been leeching off me, and only me, and I'd genuinely never noticed. Looking back, Ethan and Maya had acted like rivals when they first met, both complaining the other was hogging my attention. Somewhere along the way, that shifted entirely. Ethan started buying Maya duplicates of everything. He invited her to our holiday dinners, our Valentine's dates, our anniversaries, all under the guise of loving me so much. He loved my friends too. Back then, I thought it was sweet. Now I understood I'd just been the shield. On the phone, Ethan was still rambling, mapping out plans for my money. "Out of that 300,000 you've saved, give Maya 100,000 for rent, and put the rest toward a decent car for her. Should be plenty." I replied casually. "Sure, go ahead and look at apartments and cars for her. I need to shower. Talk later." Ethan clearly hadn't expected me to agree that easily, his voice flooding with joy. "Chloe, you're so understanding. Seriously, the best." In the past, hearing him call me understanding, hearing Maya chime in with "thank you, bestie," would have warmed something in me. Now I understood it hadn't been gratitude, it was them gloating over how easy I was to exploit. My stomach turned and I felt genuinely sick. I hung up, opened my laptop, finished the fellowship application, triple-checked it, and hit submit exactly 1 second before the midnight deadline. As the submission successful notice popped up, I let out a breath. "Want to use my spot for a promotion and a raise? Want to use my money to play house together? In your dreams." The next morning, I took the subway to the hospital. When I pushed open my office door, Maya was already there, breakfast spread across her desk, a gourmet sandwich, and an iced latte, sipping it with a lazy, satisfied smile. She waved the breakfast box at me. My secret admirer sent this over first thing. He even remembers my dietary restrictions. As she talked, she pushed her hair back, deliberately exposing a fresh dark hickey above her collarbone. "Do you think I should finally say yes to him?" I set my bag down and said flatly, "Well, You've got to take the horse out of the stable to see if it actually runs. Her smile stiffened for a fraction of a second before she recovered her cute persona, though something smug lingered behind her eyes. Don't worry, I'll introduce him eventually. Before I could respond, the hospital group chat buzzed. Fellowship candidates have entered the final evaluation stage, results within 2 days. Maya glanced at her phone and her smile stretched practically ear to ear. She grabbed my arm, tone breezy. Chloe, out of everyone, you and I have the best shot. Since you're not competing, I basically have this in the bag. Ethan wants to celebrate early tonight. You coming? I pulled my arm free. I'm busy. Outpatient clinic duty today. She blinked, sensing the sudden chill. Why are you acting so weird today? I glanced back on my way out. Time for your rounds. Then I left without looking at her face again. The morning sun poured through the hallway windows, lighting up my white coat as I headed for the clinic. At the end of my shift, Ethan was waiting, leaning against my office doorframe in full peacemaker mode. Chloe, don't be a party pooper. Even though Maya's leaving for the fellowship, she's going to be alone there. We're her friends. We should celebrate and talk about pitching in for rent. I closed the chart in my hands. The list isn't even out yet. Popping champagne early, are we? Ethan choked on his words. Before he could recover, I caught Maya off guard and ripped open her shirt collar. The dark red hickey on her collarbone was instantly lit up under the fluorescence. Since Maya's got such a passionate admirer bringing her breakfast and leaving hickeys daily, I don't think she needs you worrying about her rent, Ethan. Maybe worry about your own business instead. Maya went completely white, scrambling to pull her collar shut. Guilt flickered across Ethan's face. I didn't waste another second. I turned and walked straight out. Leaving the hospital, I took an Uber to the outskirts of the city. I'd passed the area before without really seeing it. Up close, it was even more desolate than I'd imagined. Abandoned warehouses stood tilted, rusty roofs full of holes, broken bricks, and weeds swallowing the ground, faint traces of an old livestock farm still visible. A few collapsed pens barely held their wooden bones together, air tinged faintly sour. The agent said the previous owner had gone bankrupt after a disease outbreak wiped out his livestock, and the land had been sitting on the market for 2 years. I knew exactly what I was doing. I didn't just throw in the $300,000 I'd saved for the car. I scraped together every cent of my savings and borrowed another $500,000 from my parents. With $800,000 total, I bought the entire desolate lot. The moment I signed, the agent handed over the keys with a look, suggesting he thought I was the world's biggest fool. I took them anyway. They felt heavy in my hand, but for the first time in a long while, I felt completely steady. When I got home, I locked the contract in the deepest drawer of my desk. On my phone, Maya had just posted to Instagram a lavish Italian dinner, Wagyu steak, lobster, gorgeous plated desserts, Ethan seated across from her showing only half his profile. Her caption, "Is this how friendship ends? We just drift apart. So heartbroken." Ethan had already commented underneath, "It's okay, I'll always be by your side." Then, apparently not satisfied, he added, "Chloe was out of line today. I apologize on her behalf." Their little exchange made me want to gag. I was closing the app when the cat, busy demolishing premium wet food, tossed out a lazy thought. "Tight on cash, are we? What's the rush? Did you forget the solid gold jewelry set you lent Maya?" I slapped my forehead. How had I forgotten? Back when we first started working, Maya had complained she was worried colleagues would look down on her and wanted high-end accessories to boost her confidence. Ethan had chimed in, pushing me to lend her my gold bracelet, necklace, and earrings for a while, promising to buy me a new set later. I hadn't thought much of it and handed them over. But like everything else Ethan promised, it kept getting pushed to next time. Meanwhile, Maya wore the set everywhere without a hint of shame, eventually stopped mentioning where it came from at all, and even bragged to others it was a gift from a rich admirer. Gold prices had spiked recently. That set weighed over 50 grams, worth a small fortune now. And since I'd lent it without any formal agreement, getting it back wasn't going to be simple. But I wasn't the pushover I used to be. Whatever belonged to me, they were going to give it back. I took an Uber to Maya's apartment. The hallway sat dead quiet. Just as I reached the door, I caught their hushed voices through the thin wood panel. "Ethan, do you think Chloe noticed something? She was really off today. Don't worry, we've been together 2 years, and she's never suspected a thing. She's incredibly gullible. She's probably home right now, feeding my cat for us." They both let out a low chuckle. Maya's voice went sweet and smug. "So, do you really think she'll lend me that $300,000? I'm dying to move into that loft with you." "Of course she will. She always does what I say." "Good, I feel so much better now. So, how are you going to thank me with words?" Then came the rustle of clothes, muffled breathless giggles that turned my stomach. I sneered and pounded on the door as hard as I could. Bang, bang, bang. The noise echoed through the empty hallway, tripping the motion sensor lights on the whole floor. "Who the hell is that?" Ethan's voice rasped, clearly annoyed at the interruption. "Me, Chloe," I shouted. Instant chaos inside, chairs knocked over, panicked, scrambling footsteps. The door swung open. Ethan stood there, shirt buttons completely mismatched, fresh hickeys on his neck. "Wow, you two are brave. Not smart, but brave." His face drained of color so fast it should have been documented medically. Behind him, Maya emerged from the living room with messy hair, swollen lips, and my solid gold necklace resting on her collarbone like it paid rent there. The matching bracelet gleamed at her wrist, my earrings swinging from her ears. Wonderful. My jewelry had better timing than he did. I looked from her neck to his mismatched buttons. Cute. My jewelry made it to the door before your apology did. Maya's hand flew to her throat. Chloe, this isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like my boyfriend, my best friend, my jewelry, and a severely underfunded moral compass. Ethan reached for my arm. Chloe, calm down. We can explain. I stepped back. Sit down, Ethan. Men with mismatched buttons don't get to argue their case. His jaw tightened. Don't make a scene. I glanced at the half-open neighbor doors. I didn't make a scene. I knocked. Whatever you two were doing behind that door was the scene. Maya's eyes turned red on command. Genuinely impressive weather manipulation for someone in medicine. Chloe, I know this looks bad, but Ethan came here because I was upset about you. We were just talking. Ethan flushed darker. I pulled up my recording app. Since everyone's already dressed like evidence, let's discuss my jewelry. Maya stiffened. What jewelry? The solid gold bracelet, necklace, and earrings you're wearing while playing tragic and poor. She clutched the necklace. You gave these to me. I smiled. Say that again. Slower. Her eyes flicked to my phone. Ethan jumped in. You lent them to her and forgot. Don't twist it. Good. So Ethan remembers it as a loan. Maya remembers it as a gift. Romance really does erase paperwork. Maya's mouth trembled. You said I could wear them for confidence. I did, for a while. Not forever, and definitely not as props for a rich admirer fantasy. Her face went white. I stepped closer. A gift usually comes with a giver. Yours came with screenshots. She hugged herself. You're humiliating me. Maya, take my jewelry off yourself, or I'll take your good girl mask off with receipts. Pick the cheaper option. Take it off. Ethan muttered so he'd finally done the math. Maya unclasped the necklace, bracelet, and earrings with shaking fingers, handing them over one by one, slow enough to look wounded. I checked the set. The ring? She blinked. What ring? The matching ring. I lost it. Of course you did. Your morals went missing first. It probably followed. Ethan exhaled sharply. Chloe, enough. It's just jewelry. I turned on him. You cheated for 2 years and still think you're qualified to grade my reactions. Adorable. Maya burst into tears. We didn't mean to hurt you. Then try meaning things. It gives consequences more flavor. Ethan's face twisted. You're being cruel. No Cruel was asking me for $300,000 to fund your mistress's Chicago starter pack. This is customer service. I held up the jewelry. I want the ring back or paid for, plus written acknowledgement that the set was mine, borrowed, tonight. Maya's voice sharpened through the tears. And if I don't, then tomorrow I ask the hospital ethics office whether stealing from a colleague counts as poor teamwork. That landed. Doctors could survive heartbreak. They could not survive a clean email with attachments. Ethan stepped toward me. You're threatening her career. No. She involved my jewelry in her outfit. I'm just asking the outfit to testify. I left before either of them found a comeback worth saying. When I got home, the cat sat in the center of my sofa like an emperor reviewing a poorly run kingdom, golden eyes sweeping over the jewelry in my hand. Finally, the human learns to weaponize a doorbell. I dropped my bag. You could sound a little more sympathetic. I am $80,000 of sympathy. Anything beyond that requires imported salmon. I sat beside it and held up the recovered pieces. The ring's missing. It yawned. Naturally, the mouse with lip gloss probably pawned it or hid it for her poverty monologue. You know something? I know everything. Unfortunately, I require humans to open cans. I narrowed my eyes. The cat stretched. Fine. They called you easy to manage. Ethan told Maya you'd cool down and pay the Chicago deposits. Maya planned to wear your full jewelry set at the fellowship announcement. She's also used your case notes. Twice last month. My smile dropped. What? Your summaries, your treatment plans, your presentation drafts. She copied like a raccoon with a badge. How would you know that? I lived at their place for 3 days before they decided I was too demanding. They discussed everything in front of me. Humans underestimate cats. We don't pay taxes. I leaned back slowly. Maya hadn't just taken my boyfriend, my money, my jewelry. She'd taken my work too. The cat glanced over. Are you crying? No. Good. Tears are terrible for revenge posture. I opened my laptop. Let them think I'm cooling down. The cat's eyes lit up. You're not cooling down, honey. You're preheating. Ethan texted 10 minutes later. Chloe, today was messy. Maya's crying. Can we talk tomorrow? Also, Chicago apartment prices are insane. Should I send you some options so we can pick together? The audacity. I typed back. Send me the apartment and car options. I want to see what you think is appropriate. 3 dots appeared, vanished, reappeared. Finally, you're the best. I knew you'd understand. The cat stared at my screen. Excellent. Parasites are most useful when they sign their own invoices. Over the next 2 days, Ethan and Maya became very busy ruining their own lives. They sent listings for a luxury loft near the hospital, high deposit, non-refundable fee, furniture package, parking included. Then a glossy imported SUV Maya claimed was safer for night shifts. Ethan reserved everything on his own credit, texting me that Chloe will reimburse me once she's not emotional. I screenshotted every word. The cat perched on the printer while I printed the receipts. I love this part. They tie the bow on their own coffin. Dark. For something that screams at vacuum cleaners. I issue warnings. At the hospital, Maya floated through the corridors like a woman rehearsing an acceptance speech, wearing the missing ring on her right hand. Upgraded theft into styling. I said nothing yet. The fellowship results were announced that afternoon in the main conference room. Doctors, senior residents, department heads, staff packed in. Maya stood near the front in cream, hands folded, face sweet. Ethan had sent flowers, a card half hidden under the ribbon reading, "So proud of you. Chicago is waiting." Unfortunately for him, Chicago was about to develop standards. The chief stepped up with the envelope, Maya's smile widening. The Clinical Fellowship Selection Committee has completed its review. This year's Chicago Fellowship goes to Dr. Chloe. Silence, then applause. Maya's face stayed frozen mid-victory expression, while her future quietly got repossessed. I walked forward and took the letter. "Congratulations, Maya, you were right. One of us had the best shot." Her lips trembled. "You applied?" "Yes, but you said you weren't competing." "No, Maya, you heard what you wanted, because it was wearing my wallet." Whispers moved through the room. Ethan burst in right then, breathless, bouquet in hand. "Did they announce?" He saw the certificate in my hand, then Maya's face, then everyone staring. Beautiful timing. Maya's eyes flooded. "Chloe, how could you? You knew how much I needed this." I tilted my head. I needed it too. Difference is I wrote my own application. The chief glanced between us, frowning slightly. Good seed planted. I didn't expose the copied work there yet. A hallway scene wasn't enough for someone who loved center stage that much. After the announcement, Ethan cornered me near the stairwell. "You went too far. I applied for a fellowship. That usually does involve going somewhere. Maya's fragile. Is that why she needed my boyfriend, my jewelry, my money, my notes, and my career for support?" He looked away. "We made a mistake. 2 years isn't a mistake. It's a subscription. 10 years together should mean something." It did. That's why I'm charging interest. His voice dropped. "I still love you." "No, you loved how convenient I was. Love doesn't ask its girlfriend to buy a car for the mistress." He grabbed my arm. "Don't say it like that." I pulled free hard enough that his fingers slipped off my sleeve. "Touch me again and I'll add workplace harassment to your loyalty points." His face darkened. "You're not like yourself." "Correct." I updated. That night, the cat staged a coup in my living room. First, it knocked Ethan's old gift box off the shelf. Inside was a receipt showing he'd bought Maya a designer scarf the same day he told me he was too busy for my birthday. Then it sat on my laptop until I opened the folder labeled Maya Work. Then it dragged a velvet pouch out from under the sofa. Inside was the missing gold ring. I stared at it. The cat stared back. "Found it under the sofa after Ethan dumped me here. Maya probably dropped it the last time she came over to cry about being poor while eating your imported cherries. Unlike your ex, I investigate before making noise. You could have shown me earlier. I was evaluating your intelligence." Rude. Accurate. I scratched under its chin. It closed its eyes in royal approval. "I'm not a pet. I'm an unpaid consultant with fur. You eat imported wet food. Consultants require benefits." I spent the next evening assembling everything. Jewelry receipts, old photos, borrowing messages, Maya's posts calling the set a gift from a rich admirer, a jeweler's valuation, the recovered ring, Ethan's messages urging me to lend it out, then Maya's copied work, my case summaries, drafts, timestamps, mentor emails, document history, and her submissions with only the titles changed. Apparently plagiarism was also too much effort. Finally, the cheating and the money scheme, the hallway recording, the door confrontation, their laughter about my gullibility, the Chicago deposits, the car reservation, the $300,000 plan, the cat purchase receipt $80,000 for a cat dumped on me like laundry. The cat sat beside the evidence pile with one paw resting on the receipt. "I want custody language. You're not a child." "No, I'm premium property with opinions." The main event arrived 3 days later, the hospital fellowship, farewell dinner, elegant speeches, donor thanks, polite applause, group photos where everyone pretended no one had fought over promotion slots. Maya showed up fragile and expensive looking, wearing gold-plated imitations of the set I'd already reclaimed, as if copying the shine could copy the ownership. After I'd forced her to return the real pieces and the missing ring turned up under my own sofa, apparently she'd bought fakes to keep the rich admirer fantasy alive. Ethan stood beside her, tense, determined to play peacemaker. Shirt buttoned correctly this time, growth had its limits. I arrived in a black dress with the cat in a designer carrier. It had demanded attendance. I suffered too. They fed me supermarket kibble. "Keep your voice down. I'm silent to everyone but you." Tragic for them. Dr. Adrian Cole stood near the entrance with the fellowship mentors, a senior doctor connected to the Chicago program, calm and far too observant. He congratulated me quietly as I passed. "Congratulations, Dr. Chloe. Chicago's lucky." "Thank you." His gaze dropped to the carrier. "Is that your cat?" The cat lifted its head like royalty. "Technically, I'm her consultant," it announced. I smiled despite myself. He has strong opinions. Adrian's mouth curved. "Good. Medicine needs more honest leadership." The cat sniffed. "Finally, A man with grammar, employment, and no visible hickeys. I nearly choked. Are you all right? Adrian looked amused. Fine. My consultant approves your sentence structure. High praise. Don't encourage him. The dinner began. Maya waited until dessert to make her move. Predictable, sugar had given her courage. She stood with a wine glass and a trembling smile. I know tonight's supposed to be happy, but I want to say something about friendship. Sometimes the people closest to you abandon you when you need them most. Sometimes they take opportunities you thought they supported you in. I just hope one day Chloe understands how much this hurt. The room went awkwardly still. Ethan watched me like he expected me to soften. The cat's tail thumped inside the carrier. Release me. I wish to commit elegance. I stood and took the microphone from its stand. Maya, I came for the fellowship. The jewelry was just dessert. Her expression flickered. I turned to the screen behind me. Ethan's eyes went wide. Too late. The first slide showed the jewelry receipts, my old photos, Maya's borrowing messages, her posts calling the set a gift from a secret admirer, and the valuation. The room whispered. Maya's hand flew to her fake necklace as though imitation had rights. You're humiliating me over jewelry. No, I'm humiliating you over theft. The jewelry's just shiny enough for the back row. The cat let out a pleased meow. I continued. For years, Maya built her identity around being poor, helpless, too sweet to question. Because I loved my friend, I gave her money, clothes, notes, jewelry, introductions. Apparently, I wasn't a best friend. I was an all-inclusive resort with a medical license. The next slides came up. My case summaries, my drafts, her submissions, timestamps, mentor emails, copied phrasing highlighted clean in red. The chief's expression shifted. Maya shook her head violently. No, Chloe helped me. She always helped me. She can't turn around and call it stealing now. I helped you study. I did not donate my brain. The chief stood slowly. Maya, these materials will need to go under formal review. The room went colder. I lifted the microphone again. Since we're already here, let's finish the history. The screen changed Ethan and Maya's messages. The Chicago transfer approval, the loft deposit, the car reservation, Ethan saying, I always do what she says, Maya asking if I'd really lend the $300,000, then the audio from the apartment door. We've been together 2 years, and she's never suspected a thing. She's incredibly gullible. She's probably home right now feeding my cat for us. A silence fell so total even the fork stopped moving. Ethan looked dead. Maya looked at him like he'd personally invented the recording device. Then the cat purchase receipt appeared. $80,000. Romantic gift for Maya. Delivery confirmation. Vet care unpaid. To clarify, I said, Ethan bought an $80,000 cat for Maya. They realized he needed premium food and actual effort, then dumped him on me as a stray. The cat chose that exact moment to release the most offended meow in medical history. The room turned toward the carrier. I looked down. Yes, Your Majesty, your suffering has been acknowledged. Someone snorted. Even the chief pressed his lips together. I turned back to Maya. You used my money, my jewelry, my career, my boyfriend, and somehow even tried to outsource your cat maintenance to me. Honestly, Maya, at this point I'm impressed, not forgiving, impressed. Her sweet face finally shattered. You don't understand. I had nothing. You had everything. I had boundaries. You mistook them for a supply chain. Ethan stepped forward. This is between us. Don't drag the hospital into it. Your mistress wore my jewelry to a hospital event while trying to steal my fellowship with copied work. The hospital dragged itself in. It just provided chairs. The chief turned to Maya. Pending review, you're removed from any fellowship consideration. Your clinical work and submissions will go before the ethics committee. Maya grabbed Ethan's sleeve. Say something. He pulled away. This was Maya's idea. His voice cracked. She said Chloe wouldn't mind helping. She kept asking for money. Maya spun on him. You said Chloe was easy. You said she always gave you what you wanted. You said she was boring but useful. The room inhaled as one organism. I lifted my glass slightly. Please, continue. I love watching trash sort itself. Ethan's face went red. You seduced me. Maya laughed sharply. You chased me first. You bought me a cat, Ethan, an $80,000 cat. The cat hissed. Do not reduce me to your poor romantic decisions. I nodded. He objects. Ethan looked at me, desperate. Chloe, 10 years, please. 10 years bought you a front row seat to the consequences. Sit down and enjoy the show. He didn't sit. Security helped him understand the concept. Maya reached for me. Chloe, please. We were roommates for 4 years. Yes, 4 years of friendship, 2 years of betrayal, and 1 night for you to finally learn math. Her tears fell harder. No one rushed to comfort her. People grieved the version of you that made them feel kind. Right when I thought the night couldn't get better, my phone buzzed, then half the rooms did too. A breaking news alert. The entertainment park expansion had been approved, the acquisition zone including the old pig farm lot on the outskirts of the city. The same lot I'd bought for $800,000. Estimated acquisition value, around $10 million. For once, I understood Miracle's mind, came with whiskers and questionable judgment. Ethan read the news over someone's shoulder, face going blank. Maya whispered, You bought that land? I smiled. I almost bought a car. Instead, I bought karma. With zoning potential. The The cat lifted its chin. You're welcome. Next time listen to the cat before the boyfriend. One of us has 9 lives, the other had 9 lies. I looked down at it. That was actually good. I've been saving it. Ethan stepped forward again, eyes wild. Chloe, I was wrong. We can fix this. 10 million changes everything. Yes, mostly my security settings. That cat is mine. The room paused. Even Maya stared at him like he'd lost his final marble. I bought him. Maya snapped. He was a gift for me. The cat rose inside the carrier, huge and fluffy and thoroughly offended. I opened the door and it stepped onto the table like a judge entering court. Several doctors stepped back. Cowards. I lifted my phone again. Ethan brought him to my home, called him a stray, asked me to care for him. Maya refused because he was too high maintenance. Since then I've paid for premium food, grooming, vet care, bedding, toys, and emotional flattery. The cat sat in front of me, tail curled around its paws. You abandoned an $80,000 cat because feeding him was inconvenient. Honestly, that explains your whole approach to relationships. The cat gave a sharp meow. Custody goes to the only human with premium wet food and a functioning spine. Maya burst into sobs. Even the cat chose you. He has taste. By the end of the week, everything had fallen cleanly into place. Maya's fellowship dream was dead, her work under review, her promotion path frozen, mentors gone quiet. Her innocent bestie act collapsed under jewelry receipts, copied drafts, and apartment audio. She signed a written acknowledgement that the jewelry had only ever been borrowed, paid the appraisal and cleaning and damage costs, and watched the rich admire fantasy die in front of everyone. The ethics committee did not appreciate being used as background scenery in a betrayal comedy. Ethan lost more slowly, which was more satisfying. The Chicago transfer got awkward once everyone knew he'd built it around Maya and my money. By Friday, his company quietly paused the transfer, handing the Chicago role to someone whose relocation plan didn't require a mistress, a stolen budget, and emergency dignity repairs. The loft deposit and car fees became entirely his problem. My parents blocked him so fast I nearly sent flowers. Mutual friends started calling him the cat guy, unfair to the cat, fair to the shame. Ethan and Maya turned on each other completely. He blamed her for pushing him into it. She blamed him for promising my money. He called her greedy. She called him broke. Both correct. My father invited me to dinner after the acquisition news. He stared at the contract, then at me, then at the cat perched on his chair, like the deed belonged to it. You bought a pig farm and turned it into $10 million. Technically, the cat bought it. I was just the bank account with thumbs. My mother covered her mouth, laughing and crying at once. I knew you were smart, but this is ridiculous. The cat swished its tail. I accept praise in the form of seafood. My father blinked. Did the cat just sound judgmental? Constantly. Once the first acquisition payment cleared, I repaid my parents before they could even ask. My father pretended not to be emotional and failed. Good investment, he muttered. The pig farm? Or me? Both. That almost made me cry. I didn't. The cat was watching. Chicago arrived 2 months later. I left with the fellowship secured, the land fortune under contract, my parents repaid, the jewelry compensated, Ethan blocked, Maya disgraced, and the cat in a designer carrier. It hated the airport. If this carrier is not first class, I will be filing a complaint with the Feline Labor Board. You don't work. I emotionally supervise. You nap. I recharge strategic judgment. At the boarding gate, my phone buzzed. Ethan, can we talk? I deleted it. Another from Maya. I have nothing now. Before I could decide whether to ignore it, one massive paw landed on my screen. Delete. The cat blinked innocently. Oops, my paw slipped. Tragic. I laughed so hard the woman next to me smiled too. Then, another notification. Dr. Adrian Cole. Welcome to Chicago, Dr. Chloe. Coffee when you arrive. I promise no hickeys, stolen jewelry, or hidden cats. The cat leaned over. Finally, a man with grammar, a job, and no visible hickeys. It's just coffee. Everything's just coffee, until humans ruin it. Are you approving him? I'm allowing preliminary screening. I typed back, coffee's acceptable. The cat will judge you. Adrian replied almost instantly. I expected nothing less. The cat looked pleased. He learns quickly. When I walked into the Chicago Hospital's fellowship building, the glass doors reflected a woman I barely recognized, not because of clothes or money, but because I wasn't carrying anyone else's life on my back anymore. No Ethan, no Maya, no guilt, no fake best friend waiting for me to shrink so she could stand taller. No childhood sweetheart measuring my kindness like an ATM limit. Just me, my white coat, my fellowship badge, my future, and one absurdly expensive cat in a designer carrier, judging the lobby plants. Too artificial, it declared. Be polite, this is my new workplace. Then they should fear honest feedback. I smiled and walked in. Ethan brought home a stray cat and lost a girlfriend. Maya stole my jewelry and lost her future. They wanted my fellowship, my money, my car fund, my kindness, my patience. In the end, I kept the fellowship, bought the land, made the fortune, reclaimed the gold, and gained a cat with better morals than my ex. Ethan and Maya learned the hard way that cheap people should never play with expensive women. I left for Chicago with my name on the fellowship list, $10 million of karma under contract, and a cat in a designer carrier judging everyone who'd ever underestimated me.